Hey there friends, Dave Paulides, CanAm Missing Project, copyrighted edition for our video channel. Thanks for being here. And it's getting colder here in the valley. And we've got a bunch of people coming into town for the conference coming up. So we decided that Huck needed a bath. We usually give her one in the shower or something, and we decided to take her down to the local pet store, and they have a self-doggy wash. Wow. Instead of breaking your back in the shower or bending over for like 12 bucks, you put her in this tub that's up off the ground so you don't have to bend over. Soap comes out of the nozzle like you're at a car wash. It's warm, and then you switch it over and it goes to rinse. It was the best 12 bucks I ever spent. It took us probably half an hour. They supplied the towels. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. It was awesome. Angie and I got soaking wet. Huck's one of those kind of dogs that real easygoing. She actually liked it. She didn't give us a hard time. It was kind of a fun afternoon, something different, and now she's laying on Angie's lap in the family room, sprawled out on her back, legs spread apart, Angie rubbing her tummy. She is in doggy heaven right now. Yeah. So, and yeah, that's my story for today. This is a missing persons episode, and this is going to be one brand new missing persons case, an update on a case we've talked about before that has some really strange circumstances. And I really count on you guys and ladies and young people to watch me regularly, because these videos tend to flow together. And if you've been following me lately, you know that I've been talking about bears. And this is the time of the season where I've told you many times, you have to be careful. You have to be ultra careful. This was on Yahoo News, October 3rd, 73, and it made big news in the valley just the other day. Woman 73 attacked by bear while walking near U.S.-Canadian border with husband and dog. A 73-year-old woman has been attacked by a bear while she was walking with her husband and her dog near the U.S.-Canadian border. The incident occurred at about 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoon when officials from Montana Fish, Parks, and Wildlife were notified that a woman had been attacked along the bank of Trail Creek, a few miles west of the North Fork Road, officials said. So the North Fork Road leaves Columbia Falls, essentially where I live, and travels north to the Canadian border. You cannot get across the border there, even though there is a U.S. Border Patrol station right there. And during your drive up on the North Fork, you'll see Border Patrol cars patrolling all over there. So just before you get to the border, there's a lot of roads that go to the west. To the east, if you stop on the North Fork, you'll see Glacier National Park. It's right there. It's stunning views. So let me show you. This is important in case you ever come up here. So the North Fork, Columbia Falls is way down here. Drive the North Fork up here. About halfway up the North Fork, it turns to dirt. And then the creek they're talking about runs to the west, and there's a dirt road that runs west. This is all super wild area. Really wild area. This area is all Glacier National Park. This is Keeneland Lake, Bowman Lake. Two of the most beautiful lakes you could ever drive to in your life, and you can, but it's inside the park. So this area, this is the U.S.-Canadian border. This is the area it happened in. takes me probably 35 minutes to drive there from Columbia Falls, 40 minutes maybe. The victim was on national forest land with her husband and dog when the bear emerged from thick brush and attacked her. Authorities from Fish, Montana Wildlife stated. Her husband deployed bear spray and the bear moved away from the victim. They returned to their vehicle and drove to a location where they could call emergency services. So the bear comes out of the thick foliage, jumps the woman. Husband deploys bear spray. Smart they had it. And the bear runs off. An air ambulance was immediately dispatched to the site of the attack, some 20 miles south of the U.S.-Canadian border, and the woman who was attacked was flown by helicopter to Logan Health Medical Center in Kalispell, about 50 miles south from where the bear attack occurred. FWP wardens and bear specialists are actively investigating the incident and monitoring the site along Trail Creek, known as the Bubble Ups, where the creek flows underground before rising to the surface, officials said. The site is currently closed while the investigation continues, and authorities have not disclosed what kind of bear was involved in the attack. Montana is bear country, and fall bears are active for longer periods as they consume more food in preparation for hibernation. This period overlaps with hunting season and other fall activities, FWP said in a statement warning about similar attacks. Avoiding conflicts with bears is easier than dealing with the conflicts. It's a weird statement. That's a weird statement. Avoiding conflicts with bears is easier than dealing with the attacks. I don't think these people were doing anything wrong. Walking down a road and a bear jumps you from the bushes. I don't know what you can do. Her husband had bear spray, non-lethal, drove the bear away. Sorry, I don't see anything wrong with that. Quickly, we have something up here in Kalispell called 2-2 Bear Air. It's a flight service that responds with paramedics and nurses to issues just like this. And it's almost a guarantee 2 Bear went on this. They fly out, pick the people up, fly them to a hospital. No charge. It's something that's funded by a billionaire that lives in Whitefish, kind of as his gift to the community. And he's an EMT, and he sometimes flies along with a helicopter. It's one of the greatest gifts that anyone's given to this valley in years, and we are blessed to have it. All right, let's talk about the first case. First case involves a young girl that I talked about maybe 2 months ago. And what's happened recently only adds more bizarre intrigue to the story. Her name was Gwen Brunelle. This is the wanted poster that went up with Gwen. Missing June 26, 2023, 27 years old. I highlighted the case big time when this first happened. She's a resident of Boise, Idaho. She told her boyfriend that she was traveling out of state to talk to an individual about her pet rabbits. Now, she had rabbits that she showed as a hobby. She was last seen, and she left on the trip, in this car right here. And she was last seen on CCTV in the Jordan Valley, June 27th, purchasing gas at a Sinclair station. At the time when she walked out of the station, she was wearing knee-high boots. The vehicle, a dark silver Honda SUV, was eventually found on Sucor Creek Road, just over the Idaho border, 0.4 miles west of Highway 95. And the vehicle was first seen at this location June 28th by a deputy, but didn't realize it was associated with the missing persons until June 30th. Now, Sucor Creek Road, this is Boise over here. Right here is Sucor Creek. It's about 100 miles from here to here, just over the border, This is high desert. Not a lot out here. I have no idea what Gwen was doing out here. No idea at all. Now, the information I've told you up to this point was kind of what I told you when I originally did the video. But the family and search and rescue did not give up on this. So, about 1.5 miles from her car, a subsequent search, and there were many after this, found Gwen's boots and socks. They were found by one of the helicopter teams flying low. This was a new find. So this is exactly how the boots were found. One boot here, one boot here. And they said that there were socks that didn't match that were with the boots. And they specifically stated that the boots were crossed. I find that unusual, as did the person who found it. September 10th, there's another search, and they expand out from the area where the boots are found. Now, first of all, finding the boots is pretty weird, I think, because the search for her included the area where they found the boots. So this is found in an area previously searched. September 10th, another one, more expanded area. They find Gwen's t-shirt hanging over a barbed wire fence 1 mile from where her car was found, in a place called the Dog Creek Drainage. This was found by one of 50 members of a search team. There were over 50 family members participating in this search. And they were walking areas that were not in the original search. Now that's peculiar to me because that 1 mile should have been included in the regular search. And it was stated that it was. September 22nd, another search including dogs, helicopters, and horses from the point where they spotted the boots. Now here's the part that, if you're an animal lover, you're not going to understand this. Gwen had show-level rabbits. Now, people that do this just love their animals. They live for those animals, to show them, to win prizes, you know, cater to them, you know what it is. Well, her rabbits were found in her car, alive, barely. But her t-shirt, her boots, and mismatched socks were found on subsequent searches after the original main search. Again, the topography in this area is high desert. Not a lot of trees, not a lot of bushes, free-range cows, things like that. There's a river that runs through that area that was searched intensely. Nothing found. Now, her boyfriend is a man named Gerald Sanderson. Gerald said that she left wearing Nike tennis shoes. Well, she was last seen wearing those knee-high boots at a gas station on closed-circuit television, CCTV. Deputies doing the search stated that they were almost positive they were going to find her in very close proximity to those boots. You ask why? Well, this is pretty easy. Deputies stated that the area they found the boots was very rocky, rough terrain. Nobody's going to go a long distance there. Stop there for a second. Have you seen Missing 411, the UFO connection? The section where the man is dropped. Was a t-shirt dropped? Were the boots dropped and the socks dropped? Because canines couldn't pick up a scent from any of those items, which seems impossible. And how could it have been missed on the number of searches that they did and the number of people that they had at the beginning of this event? And then you think, how could somebody who is so in love with their animals walk from them? It reminded me of something, and you can call me a weirdo, I don't care. But I was a big fan of the X-Files. And there's a good friend that's an ex-FBI agent that's in this movie. And the first year of the X-Files was based on his work in the FBI. I interviewed him about it. The video I did with him is on this channel. You can watch it. So to say that the X-Files is based on fiction, you would be wrong. Okay? And John told me, the FBI agent, that people didn't want to hear about what he found. Other agencies didn't want to hear about what he determined happened. Now, one of the shows involved people that were drawn to an area of a mountain. They couldn't explain why they were drawn there, but they were pulled there. Well, eventually a UFO hovered over the area. You know the gig. But sometimes when I write about these people that disappear, and they end up in areas that are completely unexplainable, no rational reason to be there, no believable explanation that they could walk out of that area without shoes. How is this happening? Now, people always ask me, well, Dave, why shoes? Some people say, well, it's because that they couldn't walk far without shoes. I think it's more simple than that. I think shoes carry the greatest amount of bacteria that we have on us. And getting rid of that may cause less injury to the people that are taking them. Maybe they don't have immunity to the diseases and bacteria we have on this planet. I have no idea. I'm just speaking out loud. But anyhow, Gwen is still missing. And her dad has been leading a big charge to find her, and I really admire that guy. They've gone out there many, many times in the middle of the desert trying to find his daughter. I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. Now, a case that's ongoing right now that I'm going to cover, and he may even have been found by the time I do this, and that's the risk in doing these recent cases. But as of press time, this man has not been found. First of all, when I was younger, every day, no matter what I ran, was a way to stay in shape. For me, in a weird kind of way, since I worked swing shift, 3 at night to 1 in the morning, every day was a sleeping day. Get up 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, unless I had court. And then the way I woke up, I'd go for a run. I'd come back, I feel awake, ready to go. Go into work, lift weights, go to work. That was my day. Now, when I lived in Colorado, that was my first exposure to 14ers, mountains over 14,000 feet. And let me tell you something. If you weren't born, raised, or lived in Colorado for a number of years, your body is just not acclimated to 14,000 feet. And hiking to 14,000 feet is a huge pain in the you-know-what skis. Angie and I exhausted ourselves going on many, many huge mountains in Colorado. Now, the idea of running to the top of those mountains is completely nuts to me. There's no way I could do it. I could barely walk to the top of a mountain that big. Thinking you're going to run it and keep running for 20 plus miles, that ain't happening. The man I'm telling you about Chad Pollansch is doing this. 49 years old. This is Chad. Went missing September 28th this year, just recently, like a week and a half ago at 4 p.m. He was a software engineer for HP, Hewlett Packard in Fort Collins. He's married. Wife's name is Connie. Chad had a BS at the University of Wisconsin, was a member of their cross-country club. He was a lifelong runner, had done multiple marathons. Apparently, the marathons weren't challenging enough to Chad, so he started trail running around 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado. Maybe that's why he ended up in Colorado. I don't know. Here's a question for you. How many of you out there have watched my last 20 videos? Raise your hand. Okay. Some of you haven't. It's okay. You won't be able to keep up well with what I'm going to tell you, and you won't be able to answer the question, but that's okay. How many trail runners have I told you about that have disappeared in Colorado in the last 18 months? Pretty quiet out there. Let me tell you something. No other state in the U.S. has had trail runners that have disappeared except Colorado. Well, gee, Dave, that's kind of weird. Yeah. September 27th of this year, a couple weeks ago, Chad had carefully planned a 28-mile run across and through the Continental Divide. Now, this isn't anything just anyone can do. Most people couldn't even hike into the areas that Chad would run into. But Chad parked his car at the North Inlet Trailhead near Grand Lake in the Rocky Mountain National Park on the west side of the park. Explain to you where this is. If you've never been there, Grand Lake is a beautiful area. Grand Lake right here. Right in here. Now, the North Inlet Trailhead's right here. This is all park area. He starts his run right here at the parking lot. The last contact he had with his wife was here. I'll explain that in a second. But his 28-mile run was going to be through this area that we're talking about. His run was supposed to take him to Lake Verna, Mount Alice, Chief's Head Peak, Black Lake, Mills Lake, and Flat Top Mountain. It was a mapped run he shared with his wife. Smart thing to do. And he took off on time. Well, at 1 p.m., Chad calls his wife, Connie, from the top of Mount Alice at 13,135 feet. It was kind of one of those strange, rare points in his journey where he actually had cell reception from a real high mountaintop. And this would have been Mount Alice right here. Now, this chain of mountains right here is not for the weak of heart. This is the Continental Divide. These are huge mountains. Huge! Well, after that 1 o'clock call, Connie didn't hear anything more from Chad. And early the next day, she calls the National Park Service and reports her husband is missing. I'm glad to say the National Park Service didn't waste any time. They immediately got all over this. They immediately started a search and rescue with air reconnaissance with FLIR. Now what that means is they put a helicopter up and they flew the route that Chad was supposed to be running. And FLIR, if he's out there, he's going to show up big bright colors against possibly a snowy landscape. There might be glaciers out there right now. There's not a ton of snow, but heat would definitely strike out on the FLIR. And then they put 55 searchers on that same trail and 2 dog teams. Search is still ongoing. They're many, many days into it right now, and they haven't found them. Expect the search to last until October 4th or 5th. Now here's the part. I almost fell out of my chair. When you go into Rocky Mountain National Park and you're at Estes Park, Estes is a beautiful city right at the entrance to the park, on the east side of the park. Great little town. Good restaurants, nice walking town. Well, as you're in Estes and you're driving up, one of the first things that you will see is Long's Peak. And it's identifiable because there's a big notch in the mountain near the top. It's called the Notch. People hike through the notch to get over, and it's quite the area. It can be a very dangerous hike. Connie told the press that Chad was an experienced climber, runner, hiker, and in fact had done Long's Peak 30 times. What? 30 times? It was the first time that he had ever tried the route that he had mapped and that I identified for you. So let's make no hesitation about this. Chad is a world-class runner. 100%. The wife said that he carried a GPS trail guide. That's something about the size of your cell phone, maybe a little smaller, maybe a little thicker. Usually use a carabiner, clip it on your backpack. Look at it every once in a while, and it works off a satellite, and it tells you exactly where you are. And the trail guide shows the trails you're supposed to be on in the area, and real easy to follow. And it gives you your progress, and you can map a route. Now, the route that Chad was on was a good portion trail, but a good portion off trail. Therein lies the issue. You're running off trail. What have I told you before? Very, very, very dangerous. So I said he carried a GPS trail guide, but not a personal locator beacon. Now, something like Chad, I could see him carrying a transponder where every 5 or 10 minutes you just throw it on your back, on your backpack as you're running, and every 10 minutes or so it throws out a message up to the satellite and it goes, let's say to your wife, and she's on her computer and she can mark your progress. I talked to you about this maybe a few weeks ago where this exact same thing happened, and all of a sudden the transponder stopped transponding. Well, they sent somebody up to search. They couldn't find the person. Well, in this case, he wasn't carrying one of those. I'm kind of surprised by this. I'm kind of surprised that none of these runners that have disappeared were carrying one of these. Especially Chad, and here's why. He worked for Packard. He's a software engineer for 15 years. He knows technology really well. He must have known about PLBs. He must have known about these transponders. I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to people at conferences and things. You know, this will never happen to me. I don't need one. Friends, there isn't one time I've done a case where I've later talked to relatives and they said, yeah, you know, they always kind of thought they'd disappear. No, nobody ever thinks they're going to disappear. Nobody ever thinks it's going to happen to them. Yet every other day, I'm in front of you talking about people who have disappeared. Reconcile that, people out there who say, I don't need one of these. $300, $400, the best $300 or $400 you ever spent when you're sitting on a trail, off trail, on the side of a mountain with a broken leg, just begging for a helicopter to airlift you out. Yeah. It'd be the best money you ever spent in your life. People ask me, well, Dave, what do you recommend? Hey, they all work the same. They all work off the same technology. I don't sell them. I don't represent one. I just know the technology works, and Angie and I both carry one. And I've stated before, the new Apple phones have a device in it. Just carry your phone with you that it's charged. And people say, well, you know, don't even go down this next road. Just carry a small battery to recharge your phone. Yeah. People say, well, my battery always goes out. Well, carry a charger with you. Yeah. All right. So that's Chad Pollansch, 49 years, Rocky Mountain National Park. And there's another case at Rocky Mountain National Park that I've told you about within the last 6 months. Person's also missing. There's a whole bunch of other people missing in the park as well that I've told you about over the years that are in my books. Now, you are greatly appreciated. I'm humbled that anybody wants to listen to me. And my podium up here is about trail safety, informing you about how to be better prepared when you're out there in the wild, how to treat your kids when they're in the wild, and how you to be better prepared for all strange things that could happen out there. So thank you. Be safe. Be kind to your neighbors and the people you see in stores and the post office. Do something for someone that'll make you feel good. Go hold the door open for someone. Carry a package out. Do something kind. And lastly, be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing. Paulides out.